have a standard of what you want it to look like, there'd be no reason to even go look in a mirror. If I don't want my hair sitting a certain way, if I don't care that there's food on my mouth or toothpaste, you know, if I don't care that all my buttons are buttoned, if I don't have a standard, something I want, looking in that mirror really doesn't give me value. But once I've got a standard, that mirror is really helpful. It can help me look the way that I want to look. I've got a goal that I want to go after. We're going to talk about a tool here in just a moment, and I think we're going to actually move to it now, that in coaching I use, and can actually pass around copies of what I call a life assessment wheel. It is going to be a tool that will give you the chance to look at your life, to identify some standards, and give you the ability to look and evaluate how close you are to living the standard that you want. I've read probably 14 coaching books, and I'm a part of the John Maxwell team, and I've had great coaching training from that program. I'm a part of the International Coach Federation, and incidentally, Bart Gerson is with me today, helping support me. Bart, the president of the local Columbus International Coach Federation. So she is definitely in and focused on the topic of coaching. All the coaching books that I've gone through all have some kind of a wheel that you can evaluate and look at your life through. It gives you a chance to identify how balanced are you, and are you where you want to be. I've taken everything that I've read in the various books and created my own version, which I'm sure probably most every coach has done. I've incorporated a number of aspects that are in the books, and I've thrown a couple of additional twists in that I think adds a lot of value. So I've added it. What we're going to do is you're probably not going to have the time to actually fill this out today totally, but you're going to get a good sense of what it takes to complete it and how it can benefit you. So there are 12 aspects on the wheel that I just passed to you. A lot of times, various wheels that I've seen are 6 or 8 pieces. I've added 2 that to me are important, but I haven't seen in any other coaching curriculum. The one is legacy. What do I want to make sure is left after me? And the other, and maybe it's because of my chase involvement, life pace was also another one that I wanted to add. So those are 2 that I have added to the mix. On the next slide, what you're going to see is I just wanted to say, this isn't something that I think is a great concept that I've used with my clients, but I've never filled out. I've used it for myself in my life. And this is about how neat you need to be if you're going to use it. It's not important about how beautiful it is. What's important is the content that you put on it. So if you take a look and you squint, bottom line is spending good quality, quiet, spiritual time is one that I continue to focus on as a priority for me. Also, one of the pieces I've got on there is continuing to increase and spend time with positive, growing people that will influence my life. And I'll tell you what, I've made a great investment recently with, for me personally, joining the John Maxwell team. It's just a tremendous organization that has just provided so much encouragement and the right kind of thinking and challenge that I want. We're going to take a few minutes here briefly, and we're going to work through each of the steps. So the next slide, so there's basically 5 steps to complete a life assessment wheel. The first one, which I've not seen in any other coaching curriculum, that I think adds a ton of value, and the clients that I've worked with think adds a lot of value. Rather than just saying family, give me a 1 to 10, where are you? We take the time to say, what do I want my family environment to be like? And the answer is not better or good. That's not much of a picture. You think in the analogy of a mirror, something you want to compare. So what do you want that to look like? Is that I have meals with my family 3 times a week? Is that we go on an outing? Is it we go on vacations? What specifically does a 10 look like for you? You would take the time then and hand scribble in 3 to 10 words or so that define what does that wedge look like for you to be a 10. You will then do that with each of the 12 aspects that are on the circle. And it's been interesting working with my clients, the light bulbs that have gone off, because so often we're vague. It's like we're walking around without those glasses. It's like, yeah, I want it to be better. If I really work hard, maybe it'll just get better. And it's like, what does it look like? If it got better, I don't know that they would know, because they don't know what they really want it to look like. So spending the time to think through specifically what that ought to be. The next step then is, now that we've got that picture, you can look in the mirror and say, is it what I want? And you can rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, I really haven't defined this very well. I need to get a better handle of what I even want in this aspect. And a 10 being, I'm living this baby. It is where I want to be. I need to make sure I maintain. Step number 3 is then moving into the next level. Here's where you define the priorities of your life. Inside that next circle, the lighter circle inside the numbers, you're going to then take 12 aspects and identify the 4 that are the most important to you. We all have different things that are different priorities for us. This is going to be your wheel, not somebody else's. You're going to put an A inside that next circle for the 4 that are the most important to you. Then you're going to do the same thing with the B's. And the good news is, in this official instruction I'm giving you, there's no C's that you have to go through the list. I think there's only 4 left. So then what you're going to do is you're going to come back through to the A's and say, of the A's, if push comes to shove, what's number 1, 2, 3, and 4? So you're going to prioritize 1, 2, 3, and 4 on those pieces. And actually, David, we could go back just one more. I'll come back to this one in a second. I told David, he's helping me out. David is a great friend as well, and a pastor here at the Worthington Christian Church. So thanks, David, for being here. And you are doing a fabulous job in helping us get through this, so thank you. So the next piece, once you've ranked 1 through 4 in the A's and the B's, now you've got context of what's most important to you, what you want life to look like, and how well you're doing. So when you actually put what you end up doing is circling the number that represents where you think you are, and you can connect the dots, and you can see if you have a flat tire, or if you have a little tiny tire, and you have a lot of work to do, or if you actually have a tire that's a pretty nice rounded tire, and you should feel really good about life. And I've actually had clients, when they've completed the tire, that have come back with all of those feelings. It's like, wow, I was all worked up about one thing. I really feel good about it. I didn't know I felt good about my life. I now know I feel good about my life. I've had others that actually, this is the thing that's surprised me the most with clients. Typically, they'll come to me on one topic. And they complete a life assessment wheel. And I think, okay, so we're going to dive into job, we're going to dive into whatever. You know what often happens? They come back and they say, hey, guess what? I wanted to talk about this topic. I now know that that's not really that important to me. And it's this that I want to spend time and I want to move forward in. If I get this taken care of, whether it's family or it's finances or, it could be any one of those aspects. I do this and the other's going to take care of itself. Or maybe we'll still deal with that down the road. But the bottom line is it's not the most important thing. So what you're going to then do to bring real strong clarity for yourself, because this is all about you. It's not about your coach or your family or whatever. It's about who you're becoming and how much potential you're living out of who you are. So then I challenge you to take 1 or 2 words to say, based on everything I see about my life, what word would represent me? Everything that I see going on, what is it that I want? What word do I want people to think of and see in me? My word is steward. I have been given so much, and I am so thankful. And I name my company, Well Done Life. I want to be a steward of my time, of my energy, of my relationships, of every aspect of my life. I want to be a great steward. That is my word. When I die, I don't want people having to think anything about who I was. They're going to say, hey, I'll tell you what, he used his time, everything he did, he was a great steward. Man, what a well-done life. Incidentally, if you haven't done it before, it's great to write up a eulogy of what people are going to say about you, and then share it with some people. See how they feel about sharing what you want people to say about you when you're gone. So I want steward, and that is exactly the word. So I challenge you to come up with, could you squeeze in a second or a third word? Yeah, maybe. But the bottom line is, the clearer you are on one word, it makes your life more focused and much more interesting because now you can make choices. I had a client that said, I like to work, and I'm finishing up braces here, so I can't speak as clearly as I might like. So what is her one word? She says, effervescent. And it's like, I can't say effervescent very clearly these days. But that was the word. She wanted that to represent her as she was moving forward and making progress and becoming who she wanted to be. Okay, the next one here quickly is what you do then with your life assessment wheel is now you've defined what you want your life to look like. You know where you are relative to that. You know what your priorities are. You've picked your one word. Now you're at the point you say, okay, if everything is important, nothing is important. So what are the 1, 2, or 3 things that right now I want to focus on? I want to spend my time addressing. Because truly, in my life, to live a well-done life, this is the most important thing for me. So what you do is you take 1, 2, or 3. Then, some of you will be able to move forward and define things that you want to change in your life. You now have that ability because now you have context of where you want to go. Others of you are going to want to share it with somebody and process it with somebody and figure out what are the next steps. A spouse can be a great person that you can do that with. If you've got the right relationship, and I hope you do. A best friend can be somebody that you might do that with. Might be a mentor that you've worked with to help you process that. Okay, are you ready for this one? Could be a boss. Maybe not. Or it could even be a coach. And definitely, I know one of those. Incidentally, I am loving that aspect of my life. But the thing that drives me so much at the heart is I want to see people's lives change. I have a goal, and getting to my focus on stewardship, I had a goal to positively influence 1,000 people's lives in my life. That's not my goal anymore. Since I've been moving down that path, that goal is way too close. My goal right now is 10,000. Now, I shared that with my wife, so to be totally transparent. I shared that with my wife, and I said, so, my goal is to make sure that my wife knows that she's number 2 in my life, behind my Creator, and then, after she knows that, then to positively influence 10,000 people. And my personal goal, from a coaching standpoint, I've been coaching now officially since leaving Chase for about 5 months, and I'm working with my 19th client. My goal is 50 people that I've worked with this year. And just FYI, I'm not going to do a big commercial here, but the bottom line is I so believe in the process, and even though I've had many coaches tell me, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, I'm giving 2 free coaching sessions to anybody because I believe in the process, and I think people can move forward even with few sessions if they never invest any time. But that's only if you want it. Definitely, I don't want to be pushing that type of thing. But the reality is the goal that's on my heart is for people's lives to change. And I tell you what, it might not be until mid-next year, but I bet I'm going to want to add a 0 to my goal, and 10,000 is not going